to a crime. It was a quiet spring night, and the air was heavy with an eerie calm. But then, at precisely 3 a.m., chaos shattered the silence. Flames erupted, roaring with life, consuming a family home in Derby, England. Inside, 6 young children were trapped, their desperate screams echoing through the darkness. Neighbors watched helplessly as the inferno grew, their shouts drowned by the crackling fire. Among the bystanders stood Mick Philpott, a father who appeared devastated, wringing his hands and crying out for his children. But something about his demeanor seemed off. Why wasn't he trying harder to save them? Why did his grief feel almost rehearsed? In the days that followed, as investigators combed through the wreckage, a horrifying truth emerged. This wasn't an accident, it was a calculated act of evil. But who could do such a thing, and why? This is the chilling story of Mick Philpott, a man who turned his own children into pawns in a deadly game of greed, manipulation, and deceit. Stay with us, because what lies ahead will leave you questioning everything about human nature. Could someone you know be hiding such darkness? Dade, Dak, Don, Jesse, Dayton, and Dwayne. They were not just names. They were 6 innocent souls brimming with life and potential. Their days were filled with laughter, school activities, and dreams of the future. Dade, the eldest at 13, often played the caretaker, watching over her younger siblings. Dwayne, 10, loved football and aspired to play professionally one day. The Philpott children were beloved by their teachers and classmates, described as polite, joyful, and full of promise. But behind the walls of their home, a darker reality loomed, ruled by their father's volatile nature and insatiable need for control. Mick Philpott grew up in a working-class neighborhood, but his charming demeanor masked a deep-rooted hunger for dominance. By his late teens, Mick's relationships were tainted with manipulation and violence. His first serious relationship with 15-year-old Kim Hill set the tone for his future. What began as a whirlwind romance spiraled into relentless abuse. Mick thrived on control. For him, love wasn't about connection but about ownership. Kim bore the brunt of his wrath, enduring public beatings and degrading humiliation. When she tried to leave, Mick retaliated in the most brutal way imaginable, stabbing her 27 times. Though Kim survived, Mick's actions marked the beginning of his trail of destruction. Years later, Mick's pattern of exploitation extended to other vulnerable women. With 17 children from multiple partners, Mick turned his household into what can only be described as a benefit empire. His obsession with welfare benefits became his driving force, using his children as nothing more than a means to an end. May 11, 2012 was meant to be just another day in the Philpott household, but Mick had other plans. Obsessed with regaining custody of Lisa Willis, his estranged mistress, he devised a scheme so horrifying that it defied logic. Mick planned to set the house on fire, framing Lisa to paint himself as a hero. But his plan was deeply flawed. Armed with petrol, Vic, his wife Marida, and accomplice Paul Mosley lit the blaze. The flames spread faster than anticipated, trapping the 6 sleeping children upstairs. Mick had no intention of saving them. His rescue act was designed for the cameras, not reality. By the time the fire department arrived, it was too late. Dade, Dak, Don, Jesse, Dayton, and Dwayne were gone, their lives extinguished by the very person meant to protect them. At first, Mick still seemed genuine. He gave press interviews, mourning the loss of his children, but his composure under scrutiny raised questions. Why did his grief seem so performative? Investigators began digging deeper, and soon the truth began to unravel. Petrol traces were found on Mick's clothes. Witness statements contradicted his version of events. And when Marada finally cracked, the gruesome details spilled out. In 2013, Vic, Marada, and Paul Mosley were convicted. Mick received life imprisonment, while his accomplices faced shorter sentences. Yet, no prison term could ever undo the damage. 6 innocent lives were gone, leaving a community devastated and a nation grappling with disbelief. Mick Philpott's story forces us to confront some chilling truths. What kind of person could treat their own children as collateral damage in a twisted quest for control? Could such evil be lurking in others around us, hidden beneath a facade of normalcy? As we close this chapter, the haunting image of 6 innocent children lingers. Their loss remains a somber reminder of how greed and narcissism can corrupt the very essence of humanity. What are your thoughts? Could someone like Mick exist in your community? And what would it take to stop them before it's too late?